call the regular meeting to order. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the May 27th meeting? Corrections, additions? Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Justin. Second by Kale. All in favor? Consent agenda. Need permission for clerk to pay insurance at time of billing, permission for clerk to pay utilities at time of billing, permission for clerk to pay utility incentives before the 25th of the month, permission for clerk to pay theater bills when due, permission for clerk to pay payment service network bills when due, permission for clerk to pay city attorney bills when due. Moved by Larry, second by Kale. All in favor? Cody is out today. New business, Western Kansas Child Advocacy. City of St. Francis, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Sorry about that, my dog's in Okay, are y'all ready for me, or?
Yes. Yes, we are ready for you.
Okay. Okay, well, so again, my name is Don with the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. I really want to thank y'all for your support in the past. What I have there for y'all should be our statistics for 2024 for all of our 34 counties, as well as, I think below here, as well as Cheyenne County as well. As y'all well know, we are the agency that is the first response after reported child abuse has been made. We work directly with law enforcement, DCF, and other entities that are tasked with the safety of children in our 34 counties. So essentially our goal is one interview for these children. Basically our goal is one interview with these children to prevent any further trauma to the child to have to repeat their story multiple times. Essentially what our biggest fear and what actually our founders kind of noticed is as soon as these cases start rolling, we have one interview with law enforcement, the file stays on the desk, another interview with possibly DCF, and then the files kind of transfer around. So time's always kind of a crucial element in these cases as well. With our agency now, we have those folks there kind of with a roundtable meeting essentially while the interview's being conducted. You kind of begin planning immediately, safety plan for these children. While the interview is being conducted, we also have an advocate with the trusted caregiver to provide any sort of assistance with whatever services they might need, if it's housing, food boxes, things like that, anything else your community might offer as well too. So we do stay with the family throughout the court case as well, and also we do provide advocacy for the family. It looks like this past year in Cheyenne, we have assisted with 16 forensic interviews, 34 therapy sessions for 2 children, 7 medical exams, 96 advocacy sessions for 16 children, a total of 41 children, and 135 services provided. So essentially, kind of like I kind of mentioned as well too, so another big part of our agency, it wasn't quite ready for y'all. Another big part of our agency, we are the only mobile child advocacy center here in Western Kansas. surprised that they're a little lower. Usually right here at the end, kind of when school's about to end as well too, we see an uptick in services, just, for some reason, teachers, which I understand, they make a report kind of towards the end of the year, just, hey, I'm not gonna see this child for a couple months and I have concerns, I need to make sure they're addressed, I'm not gonna see them, I'm not gonna be able to do my weekly check-ins, so, yeah, so nationwide, I say answer that, yes, we have seen a decrease, our agency has, yes, in some of our counties, unfortunately, we have seen an increase in all of them.
Does anybody else have any questions? No. We appreciate what you guys do.
Okay, and if I could make a request for a consideration for your 2026 budget of $2,500. That's just assistance for our fuel and maintenance on our mobile units.
You said 2,500?
Yes.
Alrighty, yep, we will keep you guys in mind when we work on budgets.
Okay, sounds amazing.
Alrighty, have a great rest of your evening.
Absolutely, thank you all for the support.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye. Let's see, housing, Lisa,
Oh,
you're up.
yay.
You're in the hot seat.
First. Okay, I'm gonna hand these out real quick. Appreciate you guys having me again. Letting me come in here. You don't really want the Derek.
She won't be here tonight. But
You
yeah,
leave
you
one
leave
for her?
her stuff.
Okay, I'll make it short. So, last week we had, a meeting here in St. Francis that had all the rural champions over the state. And there was 18 women, and we were all granted another $25,000 for the second part of our program. So back in the fall was the first part, and that was a 25,000, I think, and that was to hire me to, wasn't necessarily housing, but that's what we wanted and needed, and some people are doing, parks, some people are doing grocery stores. So anyway, out of these 14, champions. The second piece to this that we were granted is called the implementation grant. So whatever we worked on through the fall and last winter, we now get to put that in process after all the hat and everything was done. So, we are very interested in the property that the city owns, the old hotel, Empire, up there, to put some housing up there. And we've had, the board from CCDC look at it, and excavator and builder and everything. And we're thinking probably to start 3 duplexes, and these will be for rent. They won't be to purchase anybody individual, and they're gonna be primarily, for young professionals that come in, the hospital, the schools, the nursing home. Those guys that employ a lot of young professionals don't really have a place to stay, and they struggle, to find that. So I know it's a need. Even my own little property up there, I've had 2 nurses stay. One of them worked in Atwood, and the other one worked in Ray. So there's people from all over this area that are, struggling to find some housing for there. And they're usually contract labor, temporary for 3 months, 4 months. And so anyway, that's kind of why I'm here. And all my paper, it just, this is the proposal for the purchase of that lot. The location is specifies that, and then once we obtain land to start the process, we can start doing grants, because we have to be very detailed with our grant application to have the plan, spelled out pretty diligently. was pretty significant, with the bid. So, you know, we would like to do that as economically as we can. And then again, last week it was the $25,000 grant. So that's kinda the gist of it. And I know you guys will probably have questions, but I think at this point, you know, that can maybe come later to negotiate whatever terms we need to. But if we know that it's okay and you approve of the plan, the project, that's when we can start getting funding. And that's what takes a long time, and it's competitive, and that's my push, is to get, you know, the plan in place and then start that, so we can get some funds to,
Have you gotten far enough along to know how those duplexes would be accessed? Would it be off the highway or would it be further in?
I think that's negotiable. I took the board out there, you know, and I initially thought from the front, from the highway, but, you know, we went around to the back and between, you know, goes right through Fromholtz, I mean, behind him. That's not bad either. So I don't, you know, it's whatever the city, county, you know, requires.
I don't know that that back is actually a public, I think that's private drive back there. So
Okay.
that might be an issue.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
okay.
unless,
I just
Something's
have an
worked out.
issue with putting houses up on the highway. We wanted to put commercial lot up there, and I'm for holding off for commercial lot myself.
well, I don't know, I mean, I don't know what we can do as far as selling it without talking with Lauren, you know, as far as.
Yeah.
Cause we would have to offer it for sale, we couldn't donate it,
Okay.
we would have to sell it, so.
Okay. Well, that's, you know, and because the lot is 1.3 acres, you know, the plan is not to set them out on the highway, it's to put them further back on that
Mhm.
lot. So you're kind of driving in where there's landscape and signage before you even hit the, you know, the structures.
Do we
So-
know, is that zoned strictly commercial?
I
That
can
would be
snap and
another-
look.
Well, it was residential also.
It is residential also, isn't it?
I think it's residential,
What's
commercial.
what?
Probably is residential, commercial, cause they,
Oh,
yeah, cause they had the living quarters up.
well, yeah, I mean,
so
there
it
was
should
a
have been,
hotel there,
Yeah,
so, you
well, but
know.
they lived
The
there
owners lived
upstairs.
there too, so.
Yeah,
They lived
exactly.
up above, so yeah, it
Yeah.
should be both.
And this would be owned by the CCDC then?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or Together Cheyenne County. It's a nonprofit,
Yeah.
one of the nonprofits, and it would be managed and maintained. I would prefer to do, something like an HOA that, you know, we can afford to hire someone to maintain the grounds and keep it nice and decent and attractive. One of the gals that was there that looked at it works at the nursing home, and she said it's a huge need with them, and sometimes it's just like a month at a time,
Yeah.
you know, that they need some.
So would they be furnished then?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, but you can do that, you know, thinking of a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, maybe 1.5 bath, small. There's grants out there for duplexes right now, and they have to be at least 1,000 square feet, and that's about right where it would be.
Johnson's lived up above it, so it should be zoned, commercial residential,
Yeah,
I mean, you would think.
I feel like it's, I don't know, I can't really tell. It almost looks like it's, is that the smaller dots?
Have you looked at any other
Yeah,
locations?
it's both.
Well,
It's both, 'cause if we-
there
I
are
think those don't
lots
match
available,
compared to
you know,
these.
within
Mhm.
the city limits,
Sure.
but
These don't match that.
if
They're the
we do
smaller
more
dots.
than one
So it's both.
housing, then you're spreading them all over town. And so this is, you know, really,
More upkeep.
yeah, for sure. So really, this is a great piece of property to put, you know, housing up there and kind of see what the need is, but right now it's temporary housing, and we've lost, Jackson Street, we've lost the bed and breakfast, we went out in the country, and so there's a demand for it. And, you know, some of the teachers and things that move in, it would be nice to retain them, you know, longer, to provide them nice housing, Not that there's not out there, but they're pretty far and few between.
And sometimes just, 2 or 3 months until they can find something,
Exactly.
until something comes up that they can
Exactly.
purchase too.
Yeah, just something temporary that they can, move into until they decide if they do wanna buy or, so. So that's kind of the gist of it. I don't know a lot of the particulars. I did, like I said, take the excavator out there and we've got the builder on board. And so everybody's kind of just waiting for the land, so we can start getting grants and everything.
So we'll for sure have to talk with Lauren on that, so
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you as far
That's
as
fine. Oh, yeah,
what
yeah, that's fine.
we can think on it then. Sound good?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Any other questions? All
Thank
right.
you,
I don't
Lisa.
think so.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
You bet. Well, if you have any questions.
Yes. Special event permit, band shell rental, St. Francis Rec Commission.
It doesn't say it on the copies, I don't think, but they're asking for the fees to be waived, cause it's a community event,
So,
It's for what?
a community event.
It's on July 4th, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Trying to do some games and some different things and just try to create some local community interest.
Moved by Kale to.
Second. Oh, I better not say.
Okay, moved by Kale to approve the application and waive the fees. Second by Justin, all in favor? Okay. Appointment of Freedom of Information Officer. Who do you have?
I didn't know this was on here until I got
Okay.
here tonight. Did Lila talk to you at all about it? Did she talk to you
I know Lila said something about it,
about having you do it?
about her doing it.
Oh, about
her doing
Lila
it?
doing it
Okay,
for now?
that sounds, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to appoint Lila as the Freedom of
So-
Information Officer? Moved by Kale,
Second.
second by Larry, all in favor? Okay. Review law enforcement agreement, section 5, first, section 16.
Is this something we need to do without Lauren here?
I think it's just on the amount. I think the amount that we pay has to be reviewed by the 15th of June for budget purposes. So I think that's 16, the parties to this agreement shall review and renew this consideration as established in paragraph 5, no later than June 15th of each calendar year to determine whether or not cost for services should be adjusted. Anybody see any need to adjust the,
No,
no?
definitely not more.
Over here?
anything less,
Is the password on
And I
city
don't know how
change?
we,
For the internet?
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I can't get in.
Do you wanna hand me that password thing?
It's like, kind of like discuss his performance before he signed one.
Well, he's been able to get in.
We put a new
Kind of
one in,
evaluation.
so it'll be
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
bad.
it's
Problem
crazy.
And it's a
up
capital
against
C.
here is time frame though.
well, as far as this is, the part is,
Yeah, it's definitely late.
Get down here,
This just reenacts the contract, doesn't it?
Yeah.
we reenact it in January, don't we?
I
It's just a
believe
matter
so.
of, I think this is put in there so the amount was discussed at budget time, so you could adjust for next year. So,
Oh.
so this is just so we review it
It's for
at
budget
budget time
So we still
for
have-
next year.
We still have options if by the end of the year, is
Yeah.
what you're saying, yeah.
So,
Alright.
Well, I definitely don't think there should be an increase.
okay. We need a motion, just
I think I could just put you discussing, you don't wanna have any,
increase.
no increase, no monetary changes at all?
Mm.
Yep, okay, that will work. Building permits, don't have any? Okay, tree trim license for Mason Tree Service.
It's renewal, right?
Is it a renewal?
It is.
Your motion, did you? Moved by Kale, second by Justin, all in favor? Okay. clarification. And Lauren's not here, so I think Lauren was gonna reach out to Lila, and if not, we can discuss it at the next meeting, as far as clarification on the enforcing the sidewalk, so we can skip that. Anything else, Dan, property cleanup? Okay.
Is it clean up sidewalks?
The property we had that took the sidewalk out that we told them they needed to put back in.
Oh.
Lila needed some clarification as far as,
Yeah.
what part of the ordinance that enforcement came from, so.
If it was pre-existing, it needs to be
Mm-hmm.
reinstalled.
Yeah, so Lauren said she would touch base with Lila, if not, we can discuss it at the next meeting, so, projects pending? Anything?
Kind of discussing out front, is there water available out front? Those shrubs?
I think that all got torn out.
I think it got tore out.
I was discussing what to plant there if there's no water. Is there available to get water?
Where is that? Is there a hydrant anywhere?
There's-
Hold on.
I know when I talked to, I happened upon Jessica and Brad were out there one day, gosh, probably been 4 weeks ago. We talked about doing things that maybe weren't gonna take a bunch of water, or if they wanted to do flower pots, one would just have to water them every day. Has that changed?
Well, I think anything you plant, you're gonna have to water.
At least to get it
Couple of years to
established,
get
yeah.
established, yeah, so, and if it's, I mean, no plant doesn't take water, so.
Are you guys thinking about planting stuff now? Cause, well, when we talked about maybe like doing just some xeriscaping stuff. Nice rocks, I mean like, like bigger river rocks, some pavers maybe, some benches.
I think you already got a bench there, I think, I don't know, just looks better when you got stuff that looks like it's,
The pampas grass looked nice, huh?
That did look nice. I like that.
so I just wanna know if we're able to get water there at least temporarily.
I don't think we could do a sprinkler system, could we, Dan? Probably be
I
more
don't
just
know.
we have a hose and a reel, but. I mean, that would be the city crew stuff if they're gonna water it every day, or,
I mean, as long as you get a hose out there and put a timer on it.
we'd have to like literally string it out though, and then put it back. I don't think we can just leave a hose, because it would have to come, I mean, I guess we might be able to string it through the one side. Is there a hydrant on the other side?
I'd have to look into this,
Yeah.
I'll pay that close attention.
And I know for sure there's one on this side, but I don't know about the other side.
I would think there would be one, but I don't know.
Maybe.
I guess we can look into it. See.
Well, regardless, we need the stuff taken out of there too, so.
Yeah, I don't know how. It's not gonna be easy to get it out.
Yeah,
A little
for
backhoe.
access.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, a little backhoe.
You can get in on this side, can you? Yeah. Well, that will. Dan, you wanna take a look and see where the water's at, and we can go from there?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else on project spending?
What about streets? Have you heard anybody from anybody?
He'll be here at the next meeting,
Yeah.
so he has everything together, but to explain it to us.
He just got the stuff today from,
You'll have everything on samples and stuff.
Mm-hmm,
he got the core sample stuff done, or today, so
so
I talked to him today, he'll be here the next meeting.
What about Brock? Anything on getting,
He's getting ready to go, he's worked out the intersections, done one goes.
cool. What about Engle Road? What about extending that concrete a couple hundred feet?
Off of Main,
Mm-hmm. It's a disaster.
Right where the, before, park, I guess now,
Well, maybe not quite that far. It'd be nice, but
yeah.
I know it'd be quite expensive, but still. It'd be good to get at least 100 feet or more beyond Washington.
you think it's just for truck access?
Well, just, it's the worst part of that road, it seems like, well, besides next to the plant,
The
but
exit of plants.
we have, if we have the money, we might as well fix that too while we're at it.
Why don't we wait till next 2 weeks and see where we're at money-wise?
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, the street project.
Because we do
too.
have,
Still, I
the
know,
Angle Road was on there, so let's
Yeah.
see what it'll cost to
yeah.
asphalt it, and then we can make adjustments there. Because we have kind of a price, don't we, for concrete, didn't we, at one time?
Yeah, Brock just gave me price. I think 300, if our streets are 40 feet wide, which I'm not sure they are, and we're on 300 feet, well, it'll be 150,000.
A block.
So basically a block, is
Mhm.
150,000
Yeah.
to do it in concrete,
40 feet,
40 feet.
40 feet wide.
I don't think we're that wide down there, but
So you're close.
maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say down there.
Angle Road, 40 feet in that
I'm
spot?
very close. You may not quite be there, but
Okay, I didn't think it was that wide. Okay,
so it'll be 140,000.
yeah.
I think it'd be good to find out what he's kind of determined and see,
Go
and
from
get a
there.
better idea of kind of what money we're up against.
Mhm.
And we would make a more educated decision, I think. That's part of the reason we're trying to get these samples done.
Okay.
Street project, next 2 weeks. Nothing else on
Maybe
the
we need to
streets,
take
right?
that off of one of these two places.
What's that?
Maybe we need to take that off of one
I
of
was
these two
gonna say,
places.
we talked about it, yeah. Yeah, well, we'll discuss that,
So,
yeah, on the 23rd, so.
I did talk to Tyler with Miller Associates briefly. Like I said, I talked to him today, but we talked briefly about like, if you were to grind it up, put it back down. They got a community that's looking at it right now. By the time he figured it all out, it'd come out to be about $35,000 a block. And the tear out, and then mill and fill was about 45,000 a block, we roughly figured, so.
That's for any of the asphalt streets, or,
They would tear them up. They actually had a bid for another town,
oh, okay.
and that was like a block of work. They would tear it up,
Alright.
mix it in with the dirt, and then he called it double armor, but I think it's the same as double chip coat. And they guaranteed maybe 5 years.
Yeah. Well,
If you seal it, and
Yeah, that would be your armor
yeah, if you
stuff.
maintain it
Chip
well.
seal. He'd double chip it. But you're close enough that you'd be better off just tearing it out.
Mm.
Going back with regular. I'll bet your pricing is gonna be so close that.
well, I think part of the thing is we're gonna have to look at is figuring out what our money total is. And then getting them here all at one time to do it all. So we don't have to make multiple trips and have multiple destination charges.
Set up fees.
Let's see, you should have your budget thing right now that tells you your money.
Yeah. But we need to
Problem
know.
is, some of that you're gonna have bonds coming out of.
Mm-hmm.
And if you spend it all this year, you have nothing to transfer to next year,
Right.
so
Right.
that's, that's all the fun stuff you guys gotta figure out. I can tell you we'll spend it all, I don't.
Yeah. Well, until we know what the recommendation is
Well,
and what.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to spend as much as we can within reason. I mean,
Right.
it's taxpayer money.
And then once you guys decide, we'll have to get in touch with the bond attorneys on the remaining bond funds so they can get that ordinance or whatever drawn up, and we have to get all that
'cause we do have that
approved, and there's fees from that, but,
You're talking the leftover bond money?
because I think we're gonna have to do an ordinance or a resolution, but you guys were waiting until you got the big picture so we could just do one resolution, so we didn't have to get it checked each time or whatever they do, approved at
Well,
the
'cause
state
we
or
had
whatever.
the like the intersections, and that
Yeah.
wasn't gonna be enough, so
Right.
we do 2 or 3 of them and have to do an ordinance every time, then we're
Exactly.
spending more money on attorney's fees than using the lump
Mhm.
sum for one project.
Yeah, but once you guys get this all figured out and solidified, then we can get in touch with the bond attorneys. Get that rolling at least for that money.
Well, I think after we have a chance to talk to him and stuff, then,
We'll know where we'll have
well,
a better idea where we're sitting.
yeah, plus it'll give us an idea of what we can, what do you call it, crack seal, and if we can chip some stuff yet this year too.
Yeah.
Chip seal.
Yeah.
Good, I'm glad he's coming. Thank you.
The chip seal guy's a different guy, just,
Yeah.
Right.
another Tyler, but,
Yeah.
and I don't know where he would be able to do anything this year now.
Too late, you mean?
Probably getting pretty close.
I thought you were talking about crack sealing this fall.
We were crack sealing,
Crack
that's a
seal.
different, chip sealing's different than.
Chip seal laying down the rock, crack
Yeah.
seal.
Chip, I bet he's already got a lot planned.
Oh.
I bet he's
Yeah.
planned through most of the summer.
Well, you said we have a lot of cracks we gotta fill anyway.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of crack fills to do.
Okay.
Visitors, Guthmillers, you're up.
Thank you for entertaining us.
Yes.
I guess we're here about our letter that we've got. Letter we received Friday, dated the 4th, which gives us 20 days to remove our container. 20 days puts it at the 24th.
The shipping container?
Yes. And there is no way that we can get that moved. Number one, we have working inventory in that. We are gonna have to decide where we're gonna put it, how we're gonna get it back and forth to the shop every day, and how much we can spend on a building. It's really putting us in a bind, guys. And 20 days is not gonna cut it. You know, we could be, I hate to say it, but it could be a year before we can get everything put together, get it moved, figure out, and, cause we're a working shop, it's not like we can stop and do this. Plus the financial burden it's gonna put on us. You know, as far as the containers themselves, this is my personal opinion, I don't see a big problem with them. I really don't feel they're an eyesore, they're not a danger, and, you know, they are very purposeful for our building, for our commercial building. And that's kinda where we stand on it, 20 days is not gonna cut it if that's what you guys want us to do. But, you know, I've looked at some, you know, and I know it's bigger, but just a pole barn building that's 40 by 100 is $105,000. That's not even any concrete. No, you know, it just balloons. Even a small garage, which really we'd have to have something at least 40 by 40, and we're probably looking at $60,000 to $70,000 there. So I hope you understand where we're at. You know, my thought would be is that, you know, we are a commercial block. Maybe this is something that you guys could work out to where commercial businesses could have these. And like I said, this is not an eyesore. There's a lot of eyesores in town. This is not one of them. And yeah, we have a lot that needs to get cleaned up, but I am working on it, I'll get there.
You've
But
done a
we
lot.
have to keep things moving to keep cash flow
Sure.
going. So, do you guys have anything to say? I think that's how we feel, and at the very least, 20 days is not gonna cut it for us. So, I thank you for your indulgence and to listen to us, so, thank you.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I think we could review this, do something differently.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think in a commercial setting, there's no reason why, especially there, you can't be there. I mean, maybe throw a coat of paint on it or something if it's that big a deal, but.
Yeah, my opinion when we were doing this, when we were talking about it was, all I said was that we needed to figure out whether we wanted to do something with it, or if we're not gonna do anything with it, write the letters or not write the letters. Because this has been brought up, and I totally feel that we need to do an ordinance to where commercial, or as my situation, I'm in a, yeah, can't even think of the name of it now, but, it's a commercial area, and, commercial equipment should be allowed in there, but we're gonna have to redo the ordinance to do it.
I think
That's
that,
fine.
you know, why this came up was we've had people come and ask to put them in, and our ordinance says strictly they're prohibited. And so, then you, well, why do these people, you know, and right now the ordinance is written that they're not allowed, and so
Yeah.
that's where we're at. And without the attorney here, you know, we obviously can't, you know, have those discussions whether or not if we want to change it or what we need to do there, but.
Well, I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys listening to us, but I mean, that is really where we're at. It's gonna be, from a work standpoint, we're gonna have to have somebody going back and forth up to past the recycle center, cause that's probably where we're gonna have to stick it to get our daily inventory for that day back and forth. And, man, and then I mean, we would wanna put a building up someday, but we are not ready for that right now.
Sure. I think it needs to be reconsidered too. Take a second look at it.
We talked about, wasn't somebody talking about doing, containers in a, residential format? And we were even considering just seeing what that might look like with windows and doors on it and painted.
It'd be more like a house with a foundation.
Yeah, I mean, people are doing it all over the country, and they look nice if they're done nice. We were considering that, so I think we need to review that thing.
I'm happy if they just, as long as they keep it painted and looking good.
Yeah, as long as it's one color, I guess.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm happy with that, especially when in their position, they're right on Main Street,
Yeah.
so, and,
Yeah, and if you guys feel like that, the container we've got is unsightly, let me know. I mean, it wouldn't take much to throw a slap of coat of paint on it or something, but.
It's all one color.
Yeah, it's
one
all
color.
dark
It's
blue,
not like
right?
It's real visible either.
Yeah, it's not like it's rusted and got graffiti on it.
I think on commercial lots, if they're well-maintained and kept up and not, as these have rusted out and everything, it's just like a rundown house, we don't want that. We don't want a rundown container, but on the other hand, in a commercial lot, I've always felt they should have been allowed. Kind of where I'm at.
All right,
Let us rediscuss it and we'll get back to you if that'll
Thank
work.
you very
So
much.
they don't need to be worrying about
Yeah,
this.
don't worry
Yeah,
about,
don't
don't
worry
worry
about
about the
the
time limit deal.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Thanks for
Thanks,
coming,
guys.
guys.
thank you.
Now, this one back here, that looks pretty rough, doesn't it?
There's a different story.
Yeah,
there.
that's a different story. Yeah,
That's not a story. to
that's
be
got
told.
wheels on it.
But, Bud's got a good point though, I mean, we're talking about, I think our initial concern was mainly residential.
No,
And
but
it
we had the
has
one right
been.
next door to that one that we had a concern with. And that's
Next door.
the proposal.
I guess I'm in an industrial park rather than a commercial. I'm an industrial park,
Right,
so I've got a different step yet. But in the commercial zone as there am, as long as it's well maintained, I have no problem with it. My problem was whenever I was talking a week or two, one or two meetings back, I said, we just need to make up our minds what we wanna do. And then I saw the letters, so I figured, well, that, somebody made up the mind.
Well, that's that's what the ordinance says they're not allowed, and
Yeah.
we stuck with the ordinance, and I don't think they look nice.
I think we
don't.
need to rewrite the ordinance to where commercially zoned locations, as long as they're well maintained, should be allowed to have it, cause that's just part of their business. just all there is to it. So,
I mean,
What's
it
the
wouldn't
one
have to
that-
be the part of their business, I mean, it's used for storage, they could put up a
Mhm.
building,
yeah,
wouldn't have to have
What's the one next door you're talking about?
the
To them.
proposal that we had to the west of the,
Oh, on the corner?
putting in a storage container and then putting living quarters in it and
Who was gonna do that? I forgot. Do you remember?
I think we need to bring it up to apparently to the attorney and find out
I mean,
what it would take.
I get their point, but I wish they would've brought this before it became an emergency on our part. I mean,
Yeah, we can't
Well-
just pants on fire, okay, you gotta move.
yeah, it's like, well,
It's been 10 years.
the fact is
15.
that there's an ordinance.
There's-
Why not discuss before you brought it in? Otherwise, it's
Yeah.
like, well,
That's been there a long time.
it's been there a long time, there's
it's like
never,
asking for forgiveness, though.
yeah, there's never been there wasn't a building permit to move it in, you know, and I think, and I might be wrong, that might have been clear back from when they added on that they used it for storage and it left, same with the one up on the highway, they used it for construction when they were remodeling, and then they just leave it, and so, I don't know, I feel
That's
like,
where we have to put it in a stipulation in the deal, if you're bringing it in to do construction, it's gotta be stipulated as that. Or if you're gonna bring it in, make sure it's coming into a commercial lot and that it's maintained and secured. That's,
I just don't like the idea of letting them in, I just think it opens up a can and,
I do know they bring, some of the big companies, whenever they come in to work on a house, they bring one and set it down, but that's called temporary construction and they take it with them.
yeah,
But we're talking like that one, it's, you know, I think it started as a temporary construction and never got moved. But, it's been brought up over and over again, and I can see where in commercial lots, it would be much more cost effective, and those things are much sturdier than some of the buildings.
Yeah.
you know, we had one a couple years ago inquire about using one for a tornado shelter and asked if they could enclose it and basically build a shed around it, but, so it's,
Yeah.
and we said that was okay, and then they went a different route, I mean, I don't know why we couldn't on this as well to have them, if they wanna keep that to build, you know,
You know,
walls and a roof to make it
They could
a
put a
shed.
peak on it and call it good.
More than a peak, probably.
Paint some windows on the side.
to me, that'd be kinda impractical, as long as they upkeep it and
Yeah.
keep it in good
There's
shape.
residential places that look worse than that in town.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about, that there's
Well,
houses
that
that
doesn't make it
look
right
worse.
either.
No, it doesn't.
No, we want more than a
It
peak
doesn't,
on
but,
it.
well, yeah, that looks pretty rough. I mean,
I mean,
it's
that's my
basically
concern,
bordering
is
the
just
alley,
it-
it's way back
Where's that one?
on a commercial
city.
spot. Oh, I just don't see a problem with it, but that's just me.
You look at Goodland's got commercial lots on Main Street that they've, moved in a bunch of those for storage sheds,
Mhm.
commercial property,
Yep,
so.
again, that's your magic word, commercial property. And,
I'll say this, I think Ross's and Ross Manufacturing's made a tremendous amount of progress from what it was even 10 years ago.
oh, very much so.
Yeah.
I was really shocked here just the last year, what's really
Yeah,
changed.
They had talked at one point about possibly putting a fence up in front of that lot.
they were supposed to go in front of the old motel too. That's probably been 10 years ago, but they were
I
supposed to
didn't
put a
realize
fence
that.
around there to hide all that.
They've got it cleaned up so well now compared to what it was.
Yeah.
And they seem to continue to be doing it, so I don't,
I know they're waiting on someone to pick up steel, and they've just dropped the ball on it.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff's supposed to be picked up, they're
Mhm.
just waiting on the people to get it. Scraps and stuff.
Well, I guess,
Wait and talk to Lauren,
Yeah.
Talk to Lauren next meeting, and
you know, see what it's gonna take to make it where commercial or industrial or anything to do with commercial, I'm in favor of letting them. Cause it's, as long as it's maintained, again, it's better than, with quite a few houses in town that need a lot more upkeep than they do. So,
Okay, we'll wait till next meeting and,
I don't have much say in it, but I don't think it should matter if it's commercial or
No,
residential.
I don't
what
either, I
That's
don't,
fine though, too,
I
it's like,
just,
it's all for
I
one,
don't
one
like
for
the
all.
commercial thing being used.
no, and I just don't like the look of them, I think they look trashy, and I'd rather not
When
allow
it
them,
comes
or
down to
ordinance
it,
says not
I'm
to.
the one that hears about, why does they get to do it, why does he get to do it, why does he get to do it, you know?
Well, and then we have that situation right there, that somebody right next door wants to put one in and turn it into living space, and then we're not gonna allow that, but we'll allow the one next door. That's because it's commercial,
Yeah,
I just
I
don't
think
like-
you gotta come up with a plan that is gonna work for everybody or nobody, I mean, that's,
and I just don't think I don't think we want them, cause we don't want them in residential neighborhoods. I just, cause then what happens if you have a commercial, you know, if you get somebody that rezones something commercial in a residential neighborhood, and then they wanna put a shipping container in there, and I just think we're better off to not allow them, and we can obviously grant time for them to, you know, we can give them an extended amount of time to.
and I'm not saying I'm against them, but all I'm saying is, you could look at it the same way, you could have someone, you know, make a permit process, which we talked about before, when it kinda got blew away. Make a permit process where you go in every year, you look at it, if it looks bad, you say, you need to paint, you need to do this, you need to do. But that also gives you some bite back when people leave a little crap out in their front yard and not clean it up, you go, well, you put that storage unit in, use it. Otherwise, I don't feel bad for you when you come in and clean up all your crap, haul it off. Or you get a big fine because you're not putting your crap in your storage unit, you know? But I feel that commercial is a bad way to look at things
I would
for
agree.
storage, I mean. I'm not against them by any means, I'm not saying I am, but I'm against doing it for a part of the people and not everybody.
I would agree. And I just don't think I don't think we're gonna,
Kid, I hate to say this, guys, but at this point in the game, I've thought about this a lot, I'm on the same page as Bud at this point. I don't like the aesthetics of it, that they're a long-term standing business that's put a lot of money back into this community. I'm not saying I like it, but I understand why it's there, and I'd be on the other side of this at this point.
well now, I thought there was another one up by the county shop also. I didn't see no letter about that one. Somebody told me there was one up somewhere up
county
by the
shop's
county.
outside the city limits.
Up, but it's on this side, in the city, but up by the county shop. Or the state shop.
Well, there wanted to be one around that area, but it would, but that was just discussion.
You're not talking about the one up at, the village?
There's one up at the
Well,
village,
there might be one.
and I visited with Brett just this evening about that one, about getting that moved. So, there hasn't been a letter, there was a letter, and then, working with the city and the county working together, we wanted to have a verbal conversation with them if they want, before we actually sent something, but,
Okay, but again, I haven't looked to see I haven't looked at it, so I don't know what it is, or what it looks like, or what they're doing with it.
it was the same thing when they remodeled the nursing home, they brought it in, and then they thought, well, this has got a nice storage, let's move it on the west side of the trees, and then leave it, and then as you're coming, yeah, it just stick out like a sore thumb.
Again, is it doing a functional situation like with them? You know,
I
it's
don't know.
functional, usable, making money, helping, you know, everything, but if it's just gonna be a eyesore that's not really functional, then,
I don't know what they use it for,
but in either direction, it's on a commercial lot, isn't it?
mhm.
Again, if they keep it up and keep it you know, like you have your garage, you keep it up and clean. Still don't see a problem with it, as long as it, keep it up, just like putting a garage there, only difference is it just looks different. Storage building's a storage building, or if they can put some studs around it, it turns it into a garage. They are more sturdy than a garage, so I'm kind of fighting them that way, they're not gonna blow away.
Yeah.
Dan's makes a good point though about can't do it for one and not the next. I
No.
mean, you gotta have to go back to the ordinance like Bud's talking about, make a decision what we're gonna do.
And I guess ask the attorney if she's got any, if there's any, I lose words, anything we need to look for in legal ways that we need to look for that can happen that we need to know about.
You have to change your ordinance.
Yeah, we'd have to change the ordinance. And I don't like the idea of allowing them in residential
Well, yeah,
neighborhoods.
they're not in residential areas.
They're not, but I agree with Dan that you don't pick and choose that these people can, but these people can't.
Right.
Well, yeah, but you're still deciding if there's a difference between commercial and residential. You could say commercial only setting and
Correct.
never in
And then you get
residential.
somebody that zones something commercial in a residential
But
neighborhood.
who
and then they-
approves the zoning?
Well, we do, but so
Exactly,
you approve
so-
it, but then you allow them to have shipping
Yeah.
containers, and then you can't let them not because they're,
But you're
in the
gonna
midst
be,
of a-
but you're gonna be looking at why they're doing the zoning, you're gonna look at what
Right.
they're gonna be putting on there.
And if they're in a residential
So-
neighborhood, then
But
obviously.
you just made your point that they're functional like a garage, but not good enough for residential, but good enough for commercial,
Yeah, good enough for commercial.
but not good enough for residential.
No,
Why, it says like garage, but having studs around it.
I didn't say that, but
I know,
the point
I'm
is,
just telling you what you're saying.
if you have a bunch of houses lined up and then you got a shipping container there, it's a little different than you got all commercial businesses on Washington Street and you got a container in the back alley. That's completely different than being on a block of residential houses.
Mostly these houses are, a lot of them run the same way. They run the business out of their home. What's the difference?
I just think it's opening
There's
a
not
can
many
of
commercial
worms.
ones though. Commercial
Well,
houses.
if your house is living next door to a commercial lot, you're gonna live with that commercial lot.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if they're there before you, as far as I'm concerned, it's a commercial lot and it's tough. If not, if you were there first. Commercial lot's commercial.
It is, but, I mean, you would have, I mean,
Anybody-
look at your house right next door to a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if you were allowed to put a shipping container right there, but you've got a house right next door, you've got a house across the street,
I'd have to put up with it.
but then again, we're just saying that we don't want them in residential, so then we're gonna allow you because you have commercial, you have this one, one spot
Mhm.
zoned commercial, but nothing else is zoned commercial. I just,
Yeah, that
I
doesn't
just-
look good.
no.
We
I
just,
just-
we have trashy houses that just sit there for, 40, 50 years.
I'd
And
much
nothing's
rather
done.
see that,
And we're worried about a container that's one color.
Well, I'm worried about all. I don't want
Yeah.
trashy houses.
I know,
don't
there's
want
nothing
this
we can do about
stand around
those.
either.
There's
Yeah.
nothing we can do
So
about
why
it.
can't we just decide, let's get rid of the trashy houses and then see where we go?
Oh yeah, this is bulldozer. We can't do that. And we
And
can't,
nobody living in them.
we can't tell a company to, or a local business to drop $100,000 on a building so they can work out of it either.
What about the garage that was
If
put
I
up?
was them, I'd pack up and leave town if I did that to them.
that's just it. To me, it's a little more, it gives a little bit more freedom to do things.
Well,
What
Maybe
about
wait
the
till
garage
everybody's
that was,
here, Lauren's here, and we
what about the garage that was put up next to the bank here several years ago?
garage.
Put up where?
It was next to Bank West.
it's a garage.
It's a garage
Mm-hmm.
on Main Street.
It's got a
McPherson.
foundation.
Yeah, that's a foundation.
Yep, it looks out of place. Totally looks
It's a
out of place.
garage,
It's a
Mhm.
storage shed.
that little shed next there, yeah.
Between bank press.
Yeah, it's,
It
I
was
mean-
put up to park a pickup in it.
yeah.
Yeah, the storage back behind the old city hall.
But what's wrong with it? The garage, nothing.
I'm just saying it looks looks a little different from Main Street.
Yeah,
True.
it looks out
But
of
it's
place, but it's.
business.
There's nothing wrong with it, but it looks out of place.
But it's a permanent structure. I mean, it's got a foundation, it's a permanent structure.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
shipping container. I just don't think we,
Oh, shipping
Pick and choose.
container, put it, put it on, cement round on it, tie it down, you're tied down.
well,
I'm sorry,
Let's talk
I
to
believe they should be in a commercial zone area, so that's, would be my vote if we go in there.
okay, we'll wait till Lauren's
Once
here.
everybody's here and,
Yeah, take care of that. Theater report,
There's just minutes out there for you guys to read, or the ones that get
says,
picked.
review wages,
Yeah, and we'll have to do that in
so
executive
we'll do
session.
that at the end of the
Yep.
meeting, okay? Pool report,
Been a tough season already, with weather complications and stuff, but hopefully, we get rolling consistently this week.
they should, yeah.
Cool weather's been tough.
I mean, it's heated.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the heat will
I've heard a couple comments though that even on an 80-degree day, it was pretty chilly.
I think we
but-
had 80 degrees last week.
Well, this would have been, was this Sunday? I think it was Sunday I heard that. And it didn't get overly hot. But other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the filed pool report?
Move.
Moved by Justin,
second,
second by Kale, all in favor? Okay, superintendent report.
So, I found this forklift, I would like permission to bid on it, but I don't know what it's worth or anything else.
Where do you want it for?
Recycle.
What's
It's
it
got
on?
wheels on the front, so.
Purple Wave
Well,
or
it's on Big Iron.
Big Iron?
What side, inside?
Green jeans, Kevin Rush, shoes.
There you go. How much you wanting to, how much are you wanting to bid?
I'm trying to remember what we got back from the recycling stuff, but
Pete and Kay Riley?
that's the other push, it's not very far away.
Have you
We'll
talked to
we'll
them?
probably have to get with some way to haul it with a big trailer, cause we don't have anything quite that big,
How big is it?
17,000.
Strictly for recycle?
It'll be used elsewhere, but mostly it'll be recycling.
Are other ones okay though, or no?
Huh?
Are other one, is it?
No, we haven't had it for a long time, we're using our skid steer.
Oh, that's right.
We have that money, that recycled money.
Well, we have, yeah, but we don't know for sure how much it was, do we?
Wasn't it like $40,000?
You talking about what came from Ken?
Mm-hmm. That we're supposed to earmark for recycling, that we could use that to.
2024.
I really don't even know what one for. I mean,
I can have Wyatt
one
go,
of the things it's worth what you wanna pay for it.
Well, around since it's local,
I can have him go look.
cheaper than trying to go get it.
In 20,
Yeah,
no wait,
sure.
it was in 2025.
Do we use the road graders that the city owns?
Cheyenne County and it would have been to
Do we have,
recycle.
do we have two of those?
Can you do Aquarian or cashiering
Vernon just have a second.
Okay.
to see what we
Sell
bought
one,
for
right?
Hold on just a
Cheyenne
minute,
County?
let's get some, we're gonna skip that a second.
They gave us some money for recycle. I think it was two different
Where am I
amounts
looking this up at?
in cashiering.
Which I guess, how much are you,
So
Okay.
you have to go
want
there.
to go on this? I mean, I don't know,
I just don't know what it's worth, does anybody have any idea what one's worth?
Like a brand new one, probably 40. Or probably more than that.
Have you looked online or anything?
I mean, I've seen anywhere from, a range from 37 to 3,700 to 37,000, you know?
yeah.
Can you find that same model, listed on some somewhere else for sale to kinda get an idea?
How old was that one?
96,
98.
98.
And Wyatt's gonna see if we can find those amounts we got, yeah. I might have to go help but see if we can find that amount.
What was the?
Preston, I just know that we had talked to Aaron
I
about
don't know
that,
what
and if this is
started
what we use for recycling, we could
14.
use those funds.
Yeah,
Yeah, almost
Yes.
nine.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I mean,
So
we
we should
can,
Yeah,
No
they
more
have
than
That
22.
We
was-
always use,
yeah,
22, 25.
it's gonna come out
And
of
then
general
there's a
anyways.
$500 buyer fee on it, no matter what, so it's gonna be there. And I kinda tried to look today and I didn't see a whole lot on. One in Denver for 94.60.
Yeah, I saw those. Let's see, try to get this one.
And there's one
What
for
are we thinking?
14.9.
I mean, it's a 98 probably.
You
Already
already,
when you said it's 40, so probably no more than 22.
you already at 14 something? How much time's left?
It's done Wednesday.
CPG 40 on the internet here without auction is 16,115 buy outright. The same model. I don't know if it's as good a shape or what it is, but that on eBay it's on $16,115 right now, buy outright. For the same model.
you think 22?
I don't
What's your
have any
thoughts,
idea.
Gail?
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you think that'll,
No more than that.
Well, if we
That-
don't get it, we don't get it, we'll just have to look elsewhere.
it's just nice that it's local.
Yeah, it would be nice to get it, but you just never know with auctions, that's,
Mm-hmm.
I wished I knew it was for sale before they auctioned it, or they were gonna sell it. I was telling him 500 on, there's 500 on top for buyer's fee, so. So we go. Said 21.5, whatever.
He said 22.
Well, I
22
laid
plus
out
the
500.
We'll try 25 and
22.
22.
22.5.
22.5.
Sounds good.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Second.
Moved by Gail, second by Larry, all in favor. And I guess we figure out what the, how much we have recycle, or, I don't know that we need to, like, I don't know that we need to know, I just know that we,
Well, no,
We would-
have
well-
equipment reserve if we need it, but.
yeah, guess we would need to know where we wanna pay it out of.
Yeah, let me go see if he's having any luck.
Yeah, it'd be nice to pay it out of the recycle money.
So probably ought to add that motion for, to pay out of cycle, cause I'm sure they're gonna want paid in so many days.
Yeah. I was just thinking that, I'm like, well, we don't need to know right now. Yeah, we probably do need to know right now. Where we're gonna pay it out of cycle, I guess. Yeah, thank you.
And hopefully we get hauled half we need to
Where,
drive.
where's,
I mean, we hauled a tractor at the rate of 400, so.
this one's located here in town?
Well, it's
Outside.
on, just outside it, it's
$40,523 and some change.
Yeah, that.
So do we want, okay, so we had a
Good, second.
motion by Kale, right, second by Larry, to go up to $22,500 to pay it out of cycle, out of the recycle funds that we got from the county. Does that work, Jen?
When is the auction done?
Wednesday?
What?
Okay. Yeah, if he gets it, I'll come in and work. I was planning on being gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but we'll make it work.
Okay.
Speak of them too, but
But you don't write the checks.
now you get it.
It's okay, we'll make it work.
Okay.
Okay, next thing I had, I was gonna ask about one grader. We have an old pickup out back, we have an old steel wheel packer out back.
A loader?
We have an old loader up at the recycle center. We have an old John Deere tractor, I just wonder if we should auction some of that stuff off.
Yes.
I mean, the pickup's got a bad motor in it, but maybe somebody will give you a couple $100 for it. It's more than getting set on the back row down there.
Auction as in take it up. put
Just
on
take
the-
it to Peterson's.
Or if we know we have a buyer, couldn't we just let them,
I don't know, that was the other thing
Can we
I
do
asked,
that?
cause I do have somebody that wants the grader
yeah.
and possibly the loader.
I would think we'd have to put it out for bid, which we could put it out for bid and advertise and then see what we
Everyone-
get.
Well,
And
yeah,
if we
right.
don't like what we get, then we could take it up to
Then
auction.
do auction, yeah.
You gonna do them all that way, or everything that way?
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
list them all that way, and then if we
Yeah.
don't get an acceptable offer or no offer, then we take it up to auction. Everybody okay
Yeah,
with
I
that?
like that idea.
What's wrong with the grader?
The little grader out back, nothing. It's just, since we got the cat, we don't use it.
You don't use it.
We kept it as a spare, but then we got snow plows on state trucks and we quit using graders for the most part of it. Once in a great while, so when we do, we use the cat.
Trash truck,
What about?
the one in, is there, yeah, 3 of them, 2.5?
But two of them are sidearms if we ever get the other one to run right.
Is that one worth,
We're having
worth
problems
getting?
with one.
Yeah.
And then our rear load, we gotta have for dumpsters.
But I'm just saying, the one that isn't working right, is that one worth trying to put money into?
I don't know, I don't look into it. We just put a lot of money into it, so. Getting home.
Yeah.
We didn't make it home, we had to put a bunch of money in it, but I just wanna look and see, it might be a simple fix before we get carried away to sell it.
Are there a couple other pieces of equipment on that lineup that are ancient?
I'd have to look. I
Towards
don't
the
remember
north
what's
end
over
of the
there.
lineup, I think there's a couple things sitting there that feel like were very old.
If we haven't ran anything in the last 5 years, I'd say probably,
Oh, shit, we could sell most of it.
yeah.
No. Yeah, I'll look at some of the other stuff, I just was wondering, cause I'd clean it up a little bit down there and it's
Yeah.
gonna do more than set out back.
Yeah.
So we do have another old pickup back there that might be worth fixing, I'll look at it a little bit harder before I say yes or no, but there's an old dump truck back there too, that we haven't ran for, every time we park it, it loses the brakes. We don't run it.
Don't park it.
I don't even know if they're running anymore.
Get rid of it.
It ran when it parked it.
Yeah.
I'll be stuck there.
When we threw the block under that black wheel to stop it. Actually, it did come in the shop one day that way, I'm not even gonna lie. When my dad was still alive, he called on the radio and said, get something to stop me, I'm coming in. So we threw a block under the tire. Okay, so we're going on, we'll look at options on this stuff. Idea Tech Internet Services, this paper right here. They wanna come to town, but they wanna know what all it's gonna take. I don't know if we need to have Warren.
What's it for?
It's an internet service, just like buy or,
I say we have Warren review it before we.
What are they offering?
I don't know, I didn't read it. I got through part of it, but I just know it's an internet.
Ideas?
So,
Ideas.
you say it was fiber?
Starlink.
Hmm?
Did you say it was fiber?
Yeah, it's fiber.
Oh, it
Supposed to
is?
be fiber,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great, see? Yeah.
He talked like it was fiber.
But they'd have to lay it
I
on.
think you guys have that, this pamphlet in
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
ordinance.
Or they're leasing it.
Huh?
Or they're leasing fiber.
I think supposedly I heard, but maybe not, rumor. But I believe it, probably.
Huh.
But that's just a rumor.
Okay, so, on Tap Park, I just
Getting
need
water.
clarification, are we paying for the electric? We put it in today and turned it on, but
Paying for the installation?
the electric, we've already, it's in, and they've already paid to put it in. Just who's gonna take care of the monthly, if it's gonna be a freebie or if it's,
Lights, basically, right?
yeah. Right now, they're talking about eventually doing something with that building, but
Probably gotta charge Scott Schultz for it.
But when I went to bring it in, she wasn't sure which way we were going, so I'm bringing it to you guys.
Are we gonna be in,
I mean, we have, what do we do with their other parks?
I mean, that's what I say, is like, are we owning it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We are owning it, but just so you guys remember, when this was brought to
wasn't
us,
gonna cost us a
taxpayers
thing.
weren't gonna pay any of
Right.
this. And I'm already hearing a little bit about
I've heard a
why
lot
are we
of,
getting, why are we doing so much down there?
I've heard quite a
Cause
bit
we were
of
told we'd
feedback.
have to mow, basically,
I get a lot of
Paint
feedback
lines.
on.
and,
I'd
yeah.
like some lights at our RC park.
Turn them on.
No cost to the city, right?
Yeah, no cost to the city.
Just turn
Actually, I
them
still
on.
have one I need to get installed. I bought it a year ago.
Anyways, whatever you
Yeah,
guys,
we
whatever
just
you
think.
guys.
Tough call.
I think we do pay, we pay everything over there. Do we even pay the land shelter, or do they pay their own electric? Cause I think they have power out in that land shelter, and then they have power
The shrine there.
Shriners.
Behind the courthouse?
I
Mhm.
mean, we pay the water, you know, we have the water meters that get read. I mean, without looking at the bills, I don't know.
I'd have to look through, I don't even know if it's all metered over there, I just know there's power over there. I don't know if it's all metered or not,
Does it go to the courthouse?
maybe more of that unmetered stuff. It might go to the courthouse too, since it was originally their park.
Those lights will be on a timer, won't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How about we pay the electric if they mow it?
Get an HOA person?
Yeah.
Well, that was the other thing on tap, was they want water hydrants put in, do we wanna pay for that? I know, you want one too, I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to water it.
Yeah.
So we took one out of there because they said they were gonna use it, now they
Mhm.
decided they might want it back, and then they want one done with the horseshoe pits, I guess. We'll have to figure out where we're coming off of for the one they want up by the scout hut, because their concrete's right over the top of our water line we put in.
So who's paying for the install of all that? Is that up in the air too?
Maybe some of one of the installations
I
stuck
guess-
in the somewhere.
Maybe it needs to come up and there's a representative here for
Well, I
that.
guess I thought that more of this was supposed to be grant funded,
Yeah,
the installation side of it,
Mm-hmm.
unless I was wrong.
no, that's what I thought too.
Well, I'm all for the park, I have a hard time meeting all the costs for it.
Now, the electric he's talking about is the electric usage.
Right.
And I get that being.
Just wanna make sure, yeah, that
I
piece,
mean-
yeah, I just wanna make sure Larry knew.
Yeah, they already hired Dean
Yeah.
to install it, and he's done all the work to install it
Okay.
on the electric. So it's just a monthly meter, because it will be metered. But then like you said, the water, that's up to you guys. I mean, if you want them to hire somebody to put hydrants in, I'm good with that, cause I got 3 water taps right now, I'm trying to figure out how to get done. Although I'm sure everything else.
Huh?
They should probably hire that out, wouldn't you think?
I think it should be part of their grant
usage,
Yeah, they use it.
yeah,
Can't
Same with
imagine that's gonna be.
no,
I'm sure that's out of block. Who's-
yeah,
who's-
that's what I,
we're
the
taking
water
care
and
of
the electric, but,
Yeah.
Pretty much gonna be owning it.
I mean,
Okay.
What's the
yeah,
committee?
I mean. Okay. What do you guys think?
I agree with Larry.
I think it's gotta be part of the grant.
They should pay for the install.
Yeah.
Ask her to come up here and talk to us.
Megan?
Want them to have them come in then, or what do you?
Come in or just tell them
Well, I
that
mean, I think Dara's representative for them, right, if she was here,
time and,
and she's part of Tap Park.
I don't know how much, so.
yeah, I don't know
Okay.
how involved
Well, I
she
can tell
is.
Scott, but you guys.
Scott or,
Better, just
Scott and,
Scott and Kelly and
Kelly.
Scott and Carla, and
I mean, Scott
David?
Schultz is the one that asked for the water, so I'll just tell him and then figure it out from there.
just have them get it.
Might have been in that
I got an idea.
process.
What's that?
There's stages.
Yeah.
But the electric, consider it municipal.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
How much time have you spent down there, Dan?
Well, I'll
City
bring
crew.
Hmm?
How much time have you guys spent on that, you think?
On
Hours?
tap?
Yeah.
I don't know really, I mean, we took the sprinklers and stuff out, then we ran a new water line into there, and that's about it right
Yeah.
now. They mow it and stuff,
Yeah.
not a lot. Okay. I need to get with somebody and get exact list of streets again, cause I seem to have lost mine, so. And then as far as crackfill chip seal redos and what we wanna do.
I thought we were, yeah,
I mean, I just need to make sure that we're all on the same page before Tyler gets here and we're all stumbling around, so. I'll give Larry or whoever, I don't care, I don't even remember who's all on the streets.
Justin and I are on the streets.
Larry gave me his list, I don't know if I ever see your guys', I think I just,
It should've been the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say we
We
were
were all
together.
three.
okay. I'll get it again from Larry. Other than that,
How
we've
quickly?
We've had to mow 4 yards this year and 2 of them we did twice, so. So far, that's all we've had to mow. I guess they didn't like getting billed. There is a water tank inspection report, you guys all have it. Can see all that stuff.
I was reading that, what's their, what's gonna be done? What are they gonna do, or when will it happen?
On what?
On the water tower?
You guys did it.
Yeah, they already did the wash down inspection, this is the report,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but what's next?
Well, it'd be up to us to decide if we wanna paint it or whatever, and have somebody come in and give us estimates.
Did you get the railing,
Huh?
that railing you talked about? Is
Yeah.
that something that's required or something that you can just get by
I think it's,
for now,
I don't know.
on that safety? Or just a recommendation? Just a recommendation.
That's what I was thinking, was all recommendation stuff. I think everything passed, it's just all recommendations on what to do.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, do we need to go in and patch what's going on right now, or do we need to go ahead and do a repaint? Or I didn't see it in there unless I missed it.
You talked about extra cleaning and recruiting and issues, or,
Is that a recommendation?
was just on experience.
They never really said nothing to me.
I guess in 2008, 17, 18 was the last time that a
I I didn't really see any recommendations on what to do, it just said, here's what it is.
Right.
Say if it was much more damage up there, if you could do another claim.
When I read it, I didn't think we were in too bad a shape.
I don't think it's in bad shape,
You
but
know,
There's some areas of concern.
that's why I was asking whether it was something that is recommended, can we do some repairs and make it last a few years longer, or do we wait?
I mean, the guys that did this didn't really say much to me. They left, I got this back as an email. I can call Tony and talk to him and see.
See what they give us
What
as
his
an estimate,
suggestions are.
you know, say, you know, you got some.
I know the lead paint's a problem too, right? Isn't that always been a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the foundations is kind of a problem. Not right now, but looks like
Right.
future.
So let me call Tony and find out,
Okay,
see if I can get more information on that.
yeah, cause it's something we need to keep up on, cause a little more money in the city's got to have to replace it.
Yeah, and I think they always talk about if they ever replace it, they'd try to put something out by the well. Cause the elevation would actually be high enough to make it stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When they talking about well 7, the one on Lowers property,
Mm-hmm.
What's going on with it?
they talked about if they ever do a different tank, is putting it out on well 7 because the elevation's actually high enough to get to 10.
Hmm,
So, but, I mean, you'd still be looking at a lot of money.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll call and see what he recommends or whatever.
How many years do you think this thing has?
and see what estimate would be to go in and do those repairs now rather than waiting.
And I know when they were out here climbing, with the Tony climbing stuff, he didn't think it was a bad tower by any means.
I just wonder over 25 years, 30 years, 15?
Makes it over 5, I'm good.
Well, I could be, yeah, anyway.
It's gone from 3 to 5.
I know, we're gaining,
No,
we're gaining.
I just said it makes it over 5, that would be 3 years to get out of here. I gotta wait for her to retire. Yeah, that was all I had.
Any questions for Dan?
I know there were some semis parked, is that more the superintendent park? Semis parked on town for ordinance?
Parked in town, that would be a Cody question.
Where was that?
Where?
On the streets?
Yeah.
Oh.
One was right over here. It's parked on one weekend, one day or whatever. And then on Emerson Street, 300 block of Emerson Street.
East or west?
What's that?
East or west? Well, west would be down by Nolan Seas, right?
Yeah, the east.
East. Okay, I can mention it to Cody tomorrow, just to keep an eye on. As far as parking. Fair motion to accept and file the superintendent report. If you don't have any other questions for Dan? Moved by Kale. Second by Justin, all in favor? No attorney report, treasurer report.
I'm still working on the bids for the phone systems. So I've got 2 bids, but the phones aren't the same phone, so I've asked them to make the phones the same. Hopefully I'll have something for you at the next meeting. We're kinda getting down to the wire where if AT&T comes in and says they're done. But it's kinda the way it's worked out with the bids, and, you know, I missed quite a bit of work in March, and so, working on it, just wanna make sure that we have the same, both of them are bidding the same phones. So
Still
we can-
landline?
Huh?
Still landline?
Are we still a landline?
Is that, you're still looking at landline?
No, we're gonna go to the internet
I
phones.
don't think once you go away from landline, you're done.
Yeah.
AT&T is not supporting these landlines no more, so they're,
Well, that's why we're looking, cause we're,
Yeah, and we're kinda, you know, I mean, we're gonna be at their mercy, and so is Next Tech, and, I just hope we can get this all done before we get the call that we don't have phones, which we could all get by. I mean, you know, we could use our cell phones in the office till we get this figured out, but it's just taking a little bit of time to get bids. I mean, just because initially I was just gonna go with Next Tech, because we've been with them, I don't know how long the city's been with them, but at least since I've been here. But then I think I was supposed to get bids from Five, so I've been working on that. That was a little trickier because they don't have salespeople that come out. So then they started asking me a bunch of questions. I'm like, you really need to come to our sites and look, because they were asking me like questions that were more like IT. So then they did send a technician out. Wyatt took them to all the buildings, but, so I am getting a bid from Vive.
Who's come out so far?
Well, Vive brought a technician out. Wyatt took him, they just kind of looked to see what we've got, and then I've got a bid from Next Tech, but I gotta make sure the phones are the same. We're just gonna get cordless phones. We think that'll be easier in the office, you know, that way if we have to get up and go look at something, we aren't, so.
Yeah, that's the best way to go.
Yeah, so maybe at the next meeting I'll have something, everybody just keep your fingers crossed that we'll have phone lines until we
And
get
we'll be
the
able
new
to transfer
system.
the number, correct?
I-
Numbers.
Well, I haven't, that's not a question that I've even had a chance to ask Vive, I haven't gotten that far into it.
You know,
With
yeah,
Next Tech, I'm
they,
guessing so, because,
They,
yeah.
all of them can bring our phone, the
Yeah.
numbers over.
yeah, so, we're gonna get rid of the fax at City Hall and at the plan. It sounds like the library needs a fax, because there's a lot of customers that come in and
That's the,
fax stuff. But I think there's a workaround for that, so
Yeah,
I'm not,
I'm running fax off my,
yeah.
with Vibe, I'm running my fax fine.
Yeah, but for us, I mean, we get a few things by fax, but what we get, I think, and we rarely fax anything. Have you faxed anything since you've started at City Hall?
I've had to fax some background checks.
Okay, so we'll figure it out. I mean, faxes are kind of going away. And at the, yeah, so we'll figure all that out. So hoping at the next meeting, maybe we can figure out who we want to go with. I think that's all I have, other than I am gonna take a few days off, hopefully this week and next week.
do you wanna cover the clerk report?
Yeah,
I mean, while you're figuring your stuff?
yep, we just, every year we have to do a payroll audit, for KMIT, that's our workers' comp, and we got a little bit of a return on premium, so that just let you guys know what we got back on it. I think that was all in the clerk stuff. Are you gonna address motorized vehicles in your,
Yes.
okay, yep, I think that's all I had then.
Okay, we hear a motion to accept and file the treasurer slash clerk report.
So moved.
Moved by Larry,
Same.
second by Cale, all in favor? Okay. Council comments, Bud?
I just reconsider this, and this is some city land, and I'm just wondering if that would not be more practical for what they're wanting for housing.
Where is it?
It's just a question, is all this is, just asking questions. And it's just, and there's some other lots, but this is city property.
City shop.
Oh,
Just, it was something as an option, as I said, my opinion, I didn't like the housing up on highway, I'd rather wait until business.
I'm a little concerned with,
I'm concerned with driving in and out and everything,
yeah,
and this was just an option, I've been looking at, just trying, they need some land. I've got lots of lots that are for sale in town.
you have lots of lots that are for sale?
There's several of them, or there's several that I know that are vacant, I'll put it that way. I know a couple of them were for sale, but they've taken the signs down, I don't know why. But, I just was thinking, and like I said, this is the one bigger lot that I know that the city owns. I don't even know what all the city owns,
Yeah.
but I just happen to know this one.
Well, and until we talk to Lauren to know, you know, for sure kind of what we can do.
Probably a better spot.
That's a better spot to me, but all the way
Well,
around.
I just think of residential and you know,
Yep.
you have a dog, you gotta take him for a walk, you're crossing the highway, you're back, you know.
And that's the
Plus the,
reason,
the truck,
that's
the
the reason
noise.
why I like this, it's
Yeah.
even down there by the park, I mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna be,
There's a lot more room, really.
oh. But if, you know, if the city's wanting to help do this, is just one of my suggestions is what I've looked into.
Mhm.
And that lot's been sitting there empty for a long time, I don't know if there's ever been plans for it, but either way, shape or form, but this would give residential and put them down by the parks. I think overall, it would be a much better practical place. So, something to look at, that's all I'm throwing it out there.
This is not, what if the grant money runs out, then what happens to this place? But then who gets hit, who's gonna pick it up, who's gonna take
Pay
care of
the
it?
HOA.
Yeah, who's gonna be there? I mean, it's just curious. So, I mean, everybody relies on all these grants, but, you know, all that still takes a long
Apparently
time.
rent would maintain it.
Yeah.
That'd be a question for Lisa,
Now, this
long
one-
term.
And having a
This one
nonprofit
eliminates
donate.
that $25,000 worth of ground leveling too, that eliminates that
I mean, we
problem.
haven't built it,
Yes, some of it
that's
for
for
sure,
sure.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
before we
needs-
got it up there.
It's kinda got a dish,
Yeah, it does.
but it's not as bad as up there.
No,
It's-
but
yeah.
that's why, and I got several lots here, I've taken pictures, got pictures of it. Several of them that I think they could go check on, and they might be reasonable now, I don't know. I'm just kind of against putting it up on the highway, so I'm kind of looking for other alternatives.
I just don't know that our chances of getting a motel or some sort of lodging like that will ever come around, and how long do we wanna hold on to that property and,
Yeah, we've
maintain
waited
it.
long enough.
But the other thing too is they look at, it's not gonna be on the highway, it's gonna be back in the highway.
Yeah.
It's more potential for
But I'd much
expanding
rather,
to the city.
I'd much rather hold out on a business to go up there, myself. You know, but that's commercial lot area up there, and I'd much rather hold out for a business, even if we gotta wait. But this is a vacant lot, and it would give them somewhere to go, and like I said, overall, I think it's a better location, it'll give them parking up there, coming in and off that highway. Just not, to me, it's even for a commercial, it's gonna be, cause that was always a headache with that motel.
it was a pain to get in and out of there,
Uh-huh.
and it's dangerous, for sure.
I thought I was gonna go in the back part and put a parking lot in. But as you said, but that was when
That's
I
all
was gonna get
private
the whole
drive,
works.
Yeah.
So, and then I could've had that back lot, but it didn't work out that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether you can get a right of way through there and put drive in there or not, so.
I'd wanna do that.
What, you wanted the golf courses back there? Is that what you were after? Well, you can't go any further south.
Well, you got county back behind, and then that's private, that's the farmer.
Like I said, it was just a thought, and just
Okay.
throwing it out there.
Well, until Lauren's here to where we can discuss. Kayla, did you have anything?
No.
Larry?
The only thing I've got alumni next weekend and,
Next weekend or weekend?
weekend after, I'm sorry, I'm a week off. And then, a lot of activities planned that weekend, free swimming at the pool, and then Secret Agent Band will be in Saturday night at the park. So, come out and have a good time.
Justin, do you have anything?
Not right now.
Couple of things. One, Elmer Kellner has me helping him with 5-Day up at the museum. It'll be Friday the 13th at 7 o'clock, and so very interesting book of Flag Day ceremonies they've done in the past and things that they've done clear back into the 70s. They're kind of
Really?
interesting to go through. Anyways, I found a proclamation I thought it'd be kind of fun to do. I'll read it. It's a Flag Day proclamation. Whereas our flag is the symbol of America and the great nation it represents, and whereas our flag of red, white, and blue has flown over this nation for more than 2 centuries, and whereas our flag calls each American to rededicate our lives to those ideals of freedom, equality, and justice for which the American patriots sacrificed their lives and fortunes. Now, therefore, I, Amanda Melney, Mayor of the City of St. Francis, do hereby call upon the citizens of this community to fly their flags on June 14th, 2025, and to rededicate their lives to the ideals of freedom, equality, and justice, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and seal of the City of St. Francis this 9th day of June, 2025. Anyways, that was a proclamation they did back in the 80s, and I thought that would be fun to redo it, so do we need a motion for a proclamation?
You can do one. It
Do
won't
I hear
hurt.
a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Larry, second by Kale, all in favor. Okay. The other thing I visited with Cody about these motorized scooters and bikes are a big hot topic in multiple towns and counties, having some sort of enforcement on them. We did have an accident last week with a motorized scooter, I believe. I do know of another kid that flipped over the handlebars of one of these electric scooters, and thank goodness he had a helmet on, because it cracked the helmet. And I've had concerned citizens coming asking what we can do before somebody has to bury a child, with trying to get a handle on these. There's up and down the sidewalks on Main Street, which I know they're not supposed to be on the sidewalks.
They're supposed to be on the street next to cars.
Well, but, I mean, when you're going on those things and can go
Oh, I know.
23 mile an hour and you're driving down,
I know.
in front of the grocery store and
If they could
somebody,
control the speed, that'd be the issue on sidewalks, I think.
well, you're not supposed to have bikes on sidewalks.
Well,
So
I know that,
you're not
but
supposed to have bikes
I
on
know, the
sidewalks, you
bike's
shouldn't have
supposed to
that.
be on the street with cars that are only 4,000 pounds, and the bike is 20 pounds. So a kid gets crushed by a car, but
Which we've had happen.
I see the argument that way. I don't know. But I get it, yeah, some kid hauling ass and then someone comes out of business and wipes him out.
Yeah,
That's not good either, obviously, but
yeah.
I don't know if we ban people from, at one
I
time
don't-
it was banning people from being bikes in the downtown area, right?
And I've talked to Cody, and he would be for if we did not allow bikes, or motorized,
Oh, you mean like the electric ones?
the electric ones.
Yeah.
On
Different
Washington
business.
Street?
I disagree with that one.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't wanna do it either, but
And the other Cody would be in favor of is helmets.
yeah,
Disagree with that one too.
What's that?
Disagree with that one.
helmets.
For the electric?
Yeah. I don't have to have one for motorcycle, why would I have one for electric bike?
Yeah, that's true.
If you're under 18, you have to. Don't you?
Don't know about that.
Yeah, you do. On a
I was
motorcycle.
gonna say, on a motorcycle, if you're under 18.
You're supposed to have a helmet on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enforced really well around here like it should be, but.
I just really hate, it's just like, we're just mass punishing everybody for somebody who's irresponsible. It doesn't matter if it's adult or a kid.
Yeah.
We just have to, our first instinct just says, we gotta stop it, we gotta bring it to stop.
Yeah.
And I hate when we have to regulate it by charging more money. I bought that damn thing so I wouldn't have to pay property taxes or any of that shit, because I don't wanna do that.
Right.
It's nothing more than a bicycle.
Yeah.
What is this street line?
I think a lot
It's a
of
6-inch
it is
line.
education,
6-inch water.
education.
Right.
I don't know the different colors on here other than that.
You're gonna hurt
Yeah,
somebody.
that one's
You
10,
need to-
that one's what's going on.
Is there
They just
a
need-
guide on here
someone
somewhere
just
that tells
needs
me
to
all
say
that?
something to these kids.
A what?
A guide, or do I have to shut them all off till I figure it out?
And I don't
Yeah,
even think, I don't,
everybody had a bicycle
I
20
don't
years
even
ago.
think an ordinance.
Well, but
would
they
be
did
for
have a
that.
bicycle rodeo.
I don't know if
Was
that
it
will
here
actually show you a number,
in the last month.
colors.
Yeah,
So you
for
just have to shut them
bicycle
off till
safety
you figure it
Tell
out?
them.
Yeah, I can,
I mean,
I
all
can
it
go
takes
through
is,
it with
you
you if
know,
you want me to.
Just some
That's a
hate.
6-inch.
I'm
One.
warning you, this
So it
is- we
does
don't
cut
do this
across
in
that
Kansas.
one.
Yeah,
These are the rules.
Yeah.
and then it lines up with Spencer.
There's consequences. I either take it away,
Yeah.
parents come down, okay, fine, whatever, but I think a lot of it is just education. You know, we just,
Yeah.
our
And
first
you
instinct
don't-
is just
you
abandon
don't
the damn
really-
thing.
You don't
Oh,
really
I'm not
need an
saying ban
ordinance.
them, yeah.
You
Well,
don't
you're-
really need an ordinance transport,
talked
you
about
need
that.
Well, that
somebody
one
to go
town
out and say,
was.
you just can't, you shouldn't do this.
I mean, really, it's really no different than a bicycle. I can haul ass on a bicycle,
Sure, oh, yeah,
and I could not stop at any of the stop signs.
Mhm.
yeah.
I do know
Or I
that,
could run and not do the same thing in the middle of the street like we do. It's like, why don't I?
I do know, talking with Cody, and he said he was gonna put something on Facebook probably tomorrow, and looking at the STO, they have, on the electric assisted bicycles, the STO does state that a class 3 electric assisted bicycle, you have to be 16 to operate. So that is per the STO.
Well, there's a little, not quite so, because
Class.
you can have a class 2, be a class 3, you just can't have it go that fast.
All I know is the STO states that if a class 3, you have to be 16.
What's the
But
class
I'm just
3
telling
mean?
you what the classes are, you can get
Is it
around that.
Based on speeds?
Yeah, so,
Right, so
Oh,
so basically,
can have a
class
class
1
3,
and
but
2
it's a
go
class 2 not
20,
go that
class
fast.
3 go.
yeah,
You
okay.
get a,
I'm
you
just
get a,
telling you, that's what the STO states is you.
I understand that, but I'm just telling you what that, they're considered, a lot of them, class 2, but they can be class 3 if you go faster. And there's no serial number on those.
Yeah, it's like a speed control setting,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
I think it's just a matter if an incident comes up, you have the sheriff's department
Yeah,
address it.
have
If
the
you-
sheriff.
if I hit the
Scare
car-
the kid a little bit.
If I hit
you
the
know?
car with whatever it is, I run into it with a bicycle or a skateboard, I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
But this was some of the things I brought up earlier with the sheriff's department. They come up to my place when I have a problem with somebody, they come up, they take them outside, they talk to them, they take care of it, it's done. There wasn't any ordinances on it, no nothing on it, just, you got a problem, kid running up and down the sidewalks or something, sheriff goes and has a talk with them, but that way we're not punishing everybody for
Right.
doing it.
Yeah.
But yet, on the other hand, somebody needs to, and let Cody take care of it, say, you take care of it, here's the deal. How do you wanna take care of it, go down there and take care of it. I know what Ray Lee would've done, cause I worked with him quite a few years. He'd have taken him out back with a switch.
well, they used, you know, they also had a law, they wrote down certain people. You know, they had a whole list of laws that they.
Yeah.
I think the problem is they've talked to kids, talked to parents, and
I mean,
behavior's not changing.
yeah,
I just know there's
Yeah, look,
concerned citizens that we don't wanna see
Well,
somebody hurt.
Have them issue a ticket.
Yeah, there is an ordinance, you can issue a ticket.
yeah.
We have no fine for it, we have no fine schedule, because we didn't adopt that, so they'd have to come to court.
Could you add it?
We could,
But I
if you
think,
guys agreed to
if
adding
the
it.
sheriff goes talk to that kid, it'll solve a lot more.
yeah,
Or at least that's a
Probably
good
would.
beginning.
it should anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, exactly. It's just-
Cause
And
they're
it all
not,
has to do with educating the people, making them aware of what's going on, you know.
Yeah.
They used to have bicycle things all the time.
Yeah,
Even, I can see kids with bicycles just blow through stuff.
I'm still fighting for the small town, I want it to keep that way.
I agree too, yeah.
yeah,
I agree, I know there's a lot of concerned people with, you know,
I
they
mean,
just
there's,
keep getting more and more and more of them, and they're just getting,
right,
It's
but
like
I think
that.
there's many irresponsible drivers that stop in the middle of the intersection, read their cell phone.
or they just blow through stop
Yeah.
signs, I saw it
Or they
today.
stop at the ones that don't need stop. I
Right,
mean, they-
stop. Yeah.
But again, let Cody handle it the way he wants to handle it. How do you wanna handle it? And then if he says he wants us to handle it, then I guess we'll have to, but I think that Cody would handle it if we just say, you just handle it,
Yeah, just
I
to
think.
keep it small town, I mean, we're not a metropolis,
Yeah.
and we just want people to go to A to B and have, ride their bike.
And that's what I keep calling, I just, every time I hear, well, we need another ordinance, we need another, no, we don't, we've got plenty. They're there, let's just talk to
And
our
then we
neighbor.
don't- We enforce certain ones, but not all of them, so.
I'll let Cody should we do theater?
Sounds good.
How many, 5 minutes?
Probably 5 minutes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to go into executive session for non-elected personnel for wage recommendations for theater employees for 5 minutes to return at 8:15. See you, Sherry.
See you, Jerry.
Did you motion?
Yeah, I'll motion.
Second.
Second, Jeff, all in favor? All right, we're out of executive session, no decisions were made.
I'll move that we approve the theater adjusted salaries based on, effective June 6th.
Moved by Larry,
Second.
second by Bud, all in favor? All right,